to the measure we value ourselves is how we value other people. Today we're talking about the all-important subject of self-compassion. And I have Pepsi here to help me with this. And if there's something that you're interested in, keep watching. Hi, I'm Paula. And this is Pepsi, my little chihuahua, and my collie, Kiki, who's trying to lay down. She's trying to get in on the act. She's a rescue dog, and you'll see her pop up in the videos from time to time. Yes, she's a good girl, and they're such good company for me, and they're going to help me. So now I'm going to put them down, and we can talk about self-compassion. So today I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how you can have self-compassion for yourself using mindfulness. If you follow me on my blog, or you've watched my videos, or indeed if you've done my course, the Mindfulness Masterclass, you will know that I don't believe that mindfulness is just a practice, but it is a lifestyle, and that's what I'm trying to do on this channel, to share with you how to live mindfully so you can live life on purpose, which means live life intentionally, living life to create happiness for yourself so you can be happy every single day regardless of the challenges that you may face, and also leading to success in your life. This is a tried and true practice of myself and my personal life, but also as a psychotherapist I've shared this method with so many other people and found that to live mindfully is really a game changer. So before we get into these 3 tips, we're just going to explore briefly what is self-compassion. Well, we need to look at first what compassion is first. Compassionate people feel the feelings of others. They can empathize. Not sympathize so much, because sympathy is not necessarily related to compassion. That we'll see that in another video. But compassion is related directly to empathy. If a person can empathize, in other words, feel the feelings of others and support them accordingly, then they are compassionate. These people who are compassionate are moved by the suffering of others. Compassionate people want to alleviate suffering of others. So you'll see people who are compassionate go into the care industry, doctors, nurses, all sorts of the caring industry. They will volunteer for the Red Cross. They will go overseas to help with charities, because they will do all sorts of things and involve themselves in all sorts of organizations for the purpose of alleviating the suffering of others, because they are compassionate people. So similarly, self-compassion is showing yourself empathy. It's showing yourself that love and that concern, and involving yourself in something to show yourself that self-compassion. People who are self-compassionate will look after themselves. They will ensure they get the right exercise so their bodies are healthy. They will make sure they eat correctly each and every day so their bodies remain healthy. They will form the right relationships and maintain relationships so they can express their love and compassion to others. Compassionate people will look after their mind. They're compassionate people are usually great learners. They love to learn. They love to expand their mind and their thinking. Compassionate people do a lot of quizzes and things like that. I don't do quizzes because I'm dyslexic and I find that difficult. So joining up numbers or anything like that. I'm dyscalculate, so I don't do that as well. But I love to learn, and I will be a lifelong learner. So compassionate, self-compassionate people are compassionate towards other people, and they are compassionate towards themselves, because to the measure that you're compassionate towards other people, you are compassionate towards yourself. And the reverse is true. The measure that you are compassionate to yourself, you are compassionate to others. And so conversely, the more you dislike yourself and you judge yourself and you're down on yourself and impatient without yourself, you will be the same towards others. And the more judgmental you are towards other people and impatient and just basically intolerant and probably downright unloving, you will be all of those things towards yourself as well. So we need to be self-aware and ascertain if we are being compassionate towards others and if we're being self-compassionate towards ourselves. Self-compassion involves positive self-regard, showing one's self-compassion at all times, just not from time to time. True self-compassion is a consistent, I was going to say feelings, but it really has got nothing to do with feelings. It's to do with positive self-regard that goes beyond feelings, because one day you may feel down, and if you rely on those feelings, you probably won't feel very self-compassionate. You may not really love yourself very much on that day. But if you have positive self-regard, you will consistently have self-compassion towards yourself. If you have regard for other human beings, you will consistently being compassionate towards them. So this positive self-regard has 3 components, and this is where my 3 tips come in. So let's have a look at that. So these 3 components are the tips that I have for you today. Is number 1, kindness, number 2, common humanity, and number 3, mindfulness. And we're going to take each one in turn. Kindness is understanding towards another person without judging. That's where that non-judgmental thing that comes in. And self-kindness comes in when you are non-judgmental towards yourself. Particularly in the face of pain or failures. It's not judging somebody or criticizing somebody because they're weak in an area or they've fallen down in some way. Being non-judgmental enables kindness. It's difficult to be kind if we are judgmental and we criticize. I know, and if we mock others, well, we will do the same to others. You know, when I say mock, I mean to make fun of their weaknesses, point out their weaknesses, and bully them about it or tease them about it, and or even talk about it behind their back. That is being judgmental. And when we are judgmental, it's near impossible to be kind to someone else. And therefore, when we are judgmental towards ourselves, it's impossible to be kind towards ourselves. We cannot be self-compassionate if we are unkind towards ourselves. And mindfulness comes in with self-awareness, because we need to be self-aware or mindful of our weaknesses, our failures, and those things that we've just let ourselves down at times, don't we? I know I do. But to be self-compassionate is to accept those things and work through them so we may improve ourselves. Being compassionate and kind towards another is accepting others' weaknesses and failures and shortcomings, and help them to work through them as they would allow, of course. So to be self-compassionate is to be mindful of yourself, of your reactions, of your weaknesses, of your failures, and accepting them anyway and working through them. You know, life happens, doesn't it? Life is full of stresses and responsibilities, and particularly after this COVID lockdowns that we've experienced, we're starting very slowly coming out the other end, and it's devastated most people's lives and absolutely changed all of our lives forever. And this causes great stress in our lives. We've lost so much. We've lost touch of people that we know and love, and we've lost touch with our traditions and our routines, which have kept us safe and on track in our life. Stress is a terrible thing, and mindfulness helps us to cope with those stresses by being mindful of the weaknesses and of the stresses that we all experience, and of course what other people experience as well. So mindfulness self-compassion is proven to, and it's been around for a long time now, and it's used in the NHS and a lot of other, and that's the hospitals system here in the UK, and of course all around the world, and I use it in my work as well, and it helps to relieve that stress and maintain that self-compassion, and so people can feel valued. They value themselves, not because they've done anything particular, not because who they might be, but they value themselves because they are a human being and are worthy just by being a human being on this wonderful planet, that they are worthy, that we are all worthy of self-compassion, and mindfulness helps with that immensely. Understanding the potential value of mindfulness, researchers have found the potential value to help people to overcome the stresses and the challenges of life. And let's not confuse this with self-esteem. We're not talking about self-esteem, we're talking about self-compassion. Self-esteem is something else again, and that can be subject to changing moods and circumstances, and we'll deal with that in another video. But self-compassion is something that is consistent and is always there, and as I said at the beginning of this video, that is why it's so important to be kind to yourself, to be self-compassionate, because it has longevity. Once you are self-compassionate, you are always self-compassionate towards yourselves and others. It becomes a personality trait. It becomes a character trait. Now we'll move on to common humanity. We can't be compassionate if we feel estranged from common humanity. And what I mean by that is everybody else. Sometimes we can feel quite alone. Sometimes we can feel, in our isolations coming out of lockdowns, and many of us are still working from home. We can feel isolated and not part of the common humanity. And that can cause us to withdraw within. So this is the second tip, that we are to be self-compassionate is to feel that we are part of the whole. We are part of everybody else on the planet, and our difficulties aren't peculiar or particular to us. Everybody else on the planet suffers in the same way as we do. The circumstances may be different, but in our emotions we suffer rejection, weaknesses, we suffer failure, we suffer estrangement, And one way or another, it might be a huge situation, it may be a small situation. But whatever situations we find ourselves in, we have a commonality as human beings, that our emotions and our minds and our bodies suffer. So to have self-compassion, we need to engage our minds, perhaps even our emotions, with other people, and realize that we are part of this big wonderful planet. We are part of all of these wonderful people on the planet, and to divorce ourselves from that, to withdraw ourselves from common humanity, we're putting a barrier around ourselves, but we're also putting a barrier around our emotions. And what we don't realize, that is putting a barrier on our self-compassion. We're locking ourselves completely down, and how we feel about others, we're locking ourselves away from others, but inadvertently we're locking ourselves away from ourselves, from our own self-awareness. So that's the tip number 2. We need to be mindful of common humanity and our place within the world. My third and final tip is aspects of mindfulness. So to be self-compassionate mindfully, we need to understand what mindfulness actually is. So go on to Udemy, down the links down below, and you'll find my masterclass for mindfulness. So learn about mindfulness. Take my mindfulness masterclass, which is available on Udemy and will soon be available also on my Moonrose Mindfulness website, and I'll put the links down below for you. It's the first online course I've ever done, and I'm sure that I will improve as time goes on. But the content is good, and on my website, under courses, under shop, you go to shop, then courses, and then you'll see all of the content that I'm sharing on that course, and it's in 3 different parts, and it'll help you to start living mindfully. And remember, not practicing mindfulness, but living mindfully, because if we practice something, we dip in and out of it. It's something that is got some sort of time frame to it, and we can forget to be mindful if we forget to practice mindfulness. But from my standpoint, and what I teach, is that to live mindfully, it becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your everyday habits in your life. Mindfulness, to be mindful in our living, we will become into the habit of being mindful automatically. So no matter what challenges we face in our day, we'll kick in to be mindful, and that's what my course is all about, and that's what Moonrose Mindfulness is all about, is mindfulness living, to live life on purpose for happiness and for success. And it is a great way to look at mindfulness rather than, not as something else I have to learn, or it's not something else I need to remember to do. It's something that you become. You become mindful. Well, I hope these tips have helped you with self-compassion. In the next video I'm working on, that is also on self-compassion. So that'll be a continuation of this one, and I'll link that one down below. So make sure you watch that one. And here at Moonrose Mindfulness, we give tips on how to live life on purpose and how to achieve mindfully success and happiness for your mind, body and soul. And don't forget to subscribe and to tick that bell so you get more updates, because that will really, really help me, and I really would appreciate that, so I can get more subscribers and I continue to make mindfulness videos. Please comment, because I'll absolutely love to hear from you, and to what videos on mindfulness and health and well-being that you would like me to make. and also to share. There might be somebody that could really be helped by a video on self-compassion, so be sure to share that with them. Well, lovelies, I hope you enjoyed this video on self-compassion. As I said, watch the next one. If you're interested in learning about more by mindfulness, go to my Udemy course, but also I'm author of 2 books, and you'll find those links down below as well. And on my website, moonrosemindfulness.com, I have some health products that you can, I'm affiliate with Amazon, and just click those links, and they are products that I use quite regularly and found to help me in my health and well-being. So if you're interested, head over there and take a look at the shop. And remember to subscribe, like, to comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.